Welcome back. This is not the Imagination Station podcast, um, but we will be doing something today. So, I have not been uploading new episodes of the Imagination Station podcast. I know it kind of sucks because I just started doing it and there's not really anything else like it on YouTube. Like, I don't see many maladaptive daydreaming channels. I mean, there's some. But I mean, honestly, there could be a lot more. And I know a lot of people enjoy my videos and watching it for like information. I've just been dealing with the big depressy and it's like not going well for me and I hadn't like like I tried, but I couldn't like get myself to do like anything productive. So there will be an episode soon. I actually have quite a couple topics in mind, but for today, we're going to be looking at the maladaptive daydreaming Reddit. So, there's some spicy stuff on here. I actually did this video already. I did this on my phone, but for some reason, my phone can't export a video longer than like 30 seconds to like anywhere. It'll just crash. I can't even upload it to my laptop. If anybody knows how to transport long videos from like an iPhone, like any sort of like website, let me know. Okay, so first up we have here self story. It's always been extremely easy for me to become addicted to things. Sometimes I feel like everything I do is an addiction, but all of them I have been able to fight and recover from, except for one, MDD. Usually, my strategies for overcoming addiction is by reducing accessibility to it. However, with MDD, this is impossible because you can't escape from your own mind. I have been struggling with this for as long as I can remember. At least it's nice to know that there's a community for us. I mean, I couldn't like express how happy I was when I found out it was an actual thing and there were actually people that could relate to me. But I understand what they mean when they say like sometimes I feel like everything I do is an addiction. You feel bad for overdoing anything, especially things that make you really happy. You feel like you're just wasting all your time on it. And I want to note how they said that usually overcoming their strategies is by reducing accessibility to it. Um, yeah, that's like the best thing you can do for any sort of addiction. But when it comes to maladaptive daydreaming, it really just depends on the person because everybody daydreams so differently, so vastly. That like the way I might stop daydreaming isn't the way that might help you the most. Um, how I found out how to like lessen it back when my daydreaming was way more maladaptive, I just would time myself, find out, where I daydream the most and kind of just stick to that area and then keep it out of places like school or work or places where I need to be like alert. And over time, like I set timers from like 4 hours to daydream to like maybe 3 and 30 minutes. And I was able to like not compulsively do it. It was like at a point where like if I wasn't daydreaming, like if I didn't have any time to daydream, I would just be like so angry. Not even just angry, just like frustrated in general. I don't know if you guys relate to this, but I know some people did the last time I brought this up, but like silently screaming to yourself. I just called some people out in 4K. Like when you're just frustrated and you just want to go but can't do anything. So you like close the door and just go, but not actually do anything. I did that so much. I would like hurt my throat. I would get like a sore throat. And I do it a lot more when I couldn't daydream because I'd just be fresh. I wouldn't want to be anywhere. Why do I want to deal with you? Okay, I haven't had my daily dose of not being here. Uh, we have a meme. Sharing game story. Sharing game story. Sharing game stories and ideas that you made in your brain. Don't tell anyone to prevent them from getting a spoiler into the unforeseeable future. Yes. Before I knew what maladaptive daydreaming was, I like was afraid to talk about it, or like I didn't even want to write my daydreams down. Like I thought about it. I was like maybe I could write this stuff down. But why would I want to do that? Cuz like I didn't want anybody to read it's mine. Uh but once I realized that it was a community and like there it wasn't a very big community, I wanted to be included in it and a part of it. And the way that I feel make myself included, or I guess my language for being included, I guess, is like just sharing experiences and talking. So I did that a lot. And for anybody wondering how, like, for people who are like, I don't share my daydreams, I don't talk about it, that's just not me. Uh, there's been some people who are curious, like, people ask me, like, oh, is it harder to daydream? Or now that you talk about it a lot, it doesn't make it weird. And honestly, after I found out that it was an actual thing and I didn't even know if it was a disorder or not yet, I had no idea. I was just learning about it. It made like everything kind of sort of like some fourth wall had been broken. I didn't like it. And when I do talk about my parents, like, and I talk about like their stories and stuff, like I can just like I have to think about it. And thinking is imagining. So when I'm talking about my parents, when I talk, I think about what I'm talking about. I visualize everything. I'm a big visualizer. So it's like I talk about them and all of a sudden I'm thinking about them. Now I'm thinking about them. So I'm looking at them. And when I'm looking at them, I want to daydream about them. What am I doing anymore? Why am I here? Am I supposed to be talking about something? I don't know. You don't know. We'll do like one last story. I'm so sorry. Um, so this was the other one that I read right before ending. It was probably a good idea I read this because maybe the first one was a bit scrappy. Um, so this is another self story. This says, I'm starting to forget real events. I don't know how to put this other than I can remember the events of my false reality better than I can remember reality itself. Specifically, my father, he died in 2017, and I'm starting to forget things he said or did, or things we did together. Those memories are being replaced with the ones I make up to cope, and it's really scary. We've talked about how there are different kinds of daydreaming before. Like, there's daydreaming where you're just kind of like maybe just thinking off in class, and then there's like daydreams that you're immersed in and that like you build on. There's like stories and paracosms you can build. There's maladaptive daydreams and immersive daydreams. um and then you can also daydream about people that you make up, which are very different than if you were to daydream about people that you know. And I know that there's a line on this because people, if you've always daydreamed about anime characters, I don't think you could ever really truly understand what it would be like daydreaming about like your best friend or somebody you know in real life. Like I don't do that because I just find it makes me feel a little weird. Um because one, when you daydream about your friends or people you know and like real life scenarios, you're kind of just like composing how you would predict they'd act. Like that's kind of like if you were to go through a drive-through like at McDonald's with your friend and then you just ordered for them because you already assumed you know what they wanted. What if they wanted a salad that day? You don't know because you're not them. And one of the dangerous things about daydreaming is that what you repeatedly put into your mind is how it's going to mold how you perceive the world, how you perceive other people. If you got into a light argument with like your mom and you guys kind of bicker like that a lot, and then you go to your room and daydream for 4 hours about just being in a physical fight with her because you're angry with her about that, um she could be like over it in 4 hours and then be like, okay, we just argued about the dishes. It's whatever now. And you're coming out fuming and still raging because you've just been imagining pummeling her face in for the last 4 hours. You don't have infinite files of memory. I mean, we remember a lot, like pretty much almost everything. But for example, for me, I would daydream about my pairs, Aiden and Dalen, having really long conversations together at night. And this would be like I'd pace and daydream. And then when it was time for me to go to bed, I'd like sit on the floor or lay down on the bed and have like a conversation. And they were really nice. And, you know, growing up, I really lived for those moments because it was like I could just sit down and have a real talk and not have to deal with like all of the different people that were coming through my life. And it's really sad because now, I'm 20, and I I wish I could remember every single conversation. But like it's like life in general. I wish I could remember all the friends I had in middle school that made me laugh all the time. But I just can't because it was so long ago and I'm forming new memories, and like the memory box got to clean itself out sometimes. And it really sucks. And I wish I would have written a lot more down before then. Uh, so I want to go back to this story. Scary it must be to like know someone, lose that person that you loved, and then start forgetting who they were or like what they actually did because you just kept making up like different scenarios around that person that maybe they were never in. And it doesn't make anybody like a bad person. It's just sad when you start to forget the things that were there before. I'd say maybe the best thing is if you've like dealt with something like this, is what's helped me was as I got older and I stopped remembering as you get older you stop remembering like certain things that you daydreamed about like a year ago. I'll put on a similar song that I listened to from that time and just try to remember like where I was and like what it could have been about. And some things will just click, some things I can't really remember. But if you're like forgetting things that you wish you could remember, the best thing you could do is to fully immerse yourself in those memories. Um, not like it's not like you're trying to remember where you left your pen. It's like you're trying to remember the atmosphere and how you felt when you were there, and that will just help you remember. Like just remembering being there in general will help you remember a lot of the things around it, like what it smelled like, what you guys talked about in the evening and morning. Like some when I remember certain conversations with Aiden and Dalen that I had a long time ago, uh, I'll start crying because I'll be like, "Oh my god, I love you so much! I can't believe I remember that! Oh my god, I'm a crybaby bitch," and I'm gonna go drink some water. I'm a dehydrated bitch, so I'm gonna go drink some water. Stay hydrated, safe daydreaming, and I'll see you guys in the next video.